This is Brexit Britain. We voted to take back control of our borders, not to accept a deal given to us by a French president.
Do you think this migrant-swap deal agreed between Starmer and Macron will actually work? Well, Farage certainly doesn't. Let's take a look at the full response from Farage as to why he thinks this deal has no hope.
I don't think this so-called deal will make any difference at all. If we even try to deport people across the Channel, we will run straight into the European Convention on Human Rights, as written, into British law, in the Human Rights Act. The lawyers will have a field day and find lots of reasons why people can't be deported.
Are you sure?
I'm very certain of that. You know, whatever agreement happens at a summit, the fact is the law says that ECHR is higher than what the Prime Minister says. So I don't believe it'll work. I believe the numbers will be very limited indeed. And even if it did work, where's the advantage to us? This is Brexit Britain. We voted to take back control of our borders, not to accept a deal given to us by a French president.
I'm sure the lefty lawyers are rubbing their hands, getting excited for all the money they are going to make off of this. Anyone that we try to send back to France, I'm sure there will be some sort of ECHR loophole that stops us from sending them back. Let's not forget, folks, that the Tories tried to house asylum seekers on the infamous Bibi Stockholm barge, and we had the lefty lawyers going absolutely crazy, representing all of the migrants, saying that it would be against their human rights to put them on this hotel barge because they have a fear of water, even though they happily came here on a dinghy across the Channel. Speaking of the Channel, Nigel has been out there today exposing what on earth is going on in the Channel, whilst Starmer and Macron stand there and pretend like they're taking this issue seriously. You can look at the previous video I posted today showing the full footage of him speaking on GB News, where you can see exactly what's going on. It is just crazy. But he has tweeted saying there are 78 illegal migrants on board this boat in the English Channel. That's one of the ones they spotted today. Only 4 of them are women and children. Are you watching Darren Jones? And if you don't remember, Darren Jones, who is the Chief Secretary to the Treasury, said this on Question Time.
And when you see that the majority of the people in these boats are children, babies and women who have been...
No, they're not.
No, you have got to take... No, look, I get this is...
North of 90% of them are adult men.
Let me be... No, that's not true.
The absolute delusion that some people in the Labour Party live under. They are sold this lie that it is all women and children coming across. It's not. I wouldn't mind so much if it was all women and children coming across. Yes, they may be undocumented, but, you know, at least they can't rape a woman, right? At least they're, I'd say, far less likely than a man to commit some sort of, you know, horrific terrorist attack, and I think generally they'd be less likely to commit crimes. But we can very clearly see from, you know, the facts, the stats, and anyone who goes out and takes a look at one of these migrant boats, it is mostly all men, young men coming across. In fact, let's take a look at, we had a look earlier at some of the GB News footage. You can look at my previous video on that, but let's take a look at the footage that Reform have put out, which I have to say looks very flashy. Some very great camera work going on here.
Well, it's 5 a.m. We're leaving Dover Harbour on the very day when President Macron sits down with Keir Starmer to negotiate a deal. Interestingly, we're also 9 years on from Brexit, where we voted very clearly to take back control of our borders. He's trying to do a deal with the French where they will get the upper hand. Anyway, we're going into the Channel on this very day. We know of one dinghy that's launched already. We're going to see what we can find. And it's the usual drill. A dinghy has left the French beaches, been escorted over by the French Navy. And if we turn around, we can see the Border Force vessel. And he's now waiting on the 12-mile line for the handover. Bear in mind, we've given the French 800 million quid since 2014, and still their Navy hands over migrant boats.
Insane.
Looks to be about 70 people in the boat. It's lying very low in the water. We've looked through the binoculars. The French Navy have now stopped, and this boat is right on the edge of French and British waters, and Border Force are waiting just behind me. It's interesting. We're literally watching one government politely handing over to another government.
It's insane.
78 people on that rib, one woman, 3 kids, and 74 young adult males whose identity we do not know. If this is not a national security emergency, I don't know what is.
Look at this. So they only have to get on that dinghy until they get to the centre line of the channel, because then they get picked up by border force after the French. So the French Navy will watch them. They'll give them life jackets and they'll, you know, escort them and watch the dinghy go over to the centre line of the channel. And then when they get to the centre line of the channel, border force or border farce, shall we call it, they don't just, you know, go alongside the dinghy towards the beaches of Dover to make sure their dinghy gets there safely. No, straight away, centre line of the channel, they take everybody off that dinghy, get them on board that big safe border force boat, and then they have the other boat that comes behind them, which is leased for $6,000 a day, by the way, just to pick up the empty dinghy and take it back home. Can't make it up, can you? But anyway, that is the latest. That is Nigel Farage's response to Starmer and Macron's migrant swap deal. Let me know in the comments below, do you think there is any hope in this deal? Will it do anything? I'm Chloe Dobbs. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss out on any more updates.